Welcome to the RPC staff meeting of September the 8th, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. I am Blaren, the Wrangler. Coupon?
I'm Coupon, hello.
I'm Thermicline, hello.
I'm Lupin, hello. I'm Jerry, hello.
I'm the Kaiser.
I'm Qual.
I'm a scriber. Hello. Nothing
Anyone
clever
else?
to say.
Anyone else here? That's stuff?
That's it.
Alright.
Okay.
Hellsberg didn't speak, but Hellsberg is here.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear Ellsberg speak.
So, one thing that we kind of do have to really cover is that you guys need to be civil towards each other, not just in meetings, but in our Discord as well. Not even just here in the staff Discord. We want to have a positive environment on our staff team. And even in the staff chats, there's way too many petty insults being thrown at each other. You guys need to communicate a lot more, and everyone needs to put an effort towards doing that. Getting caught up and arguing over really petty shit helps absolutely no one in our community, and it doesn't help our community stay healthy or strong. Okay?
Well, it's a good sentiment, but it's about a year late. I mean, a nice sentiment, but I severely doubt staff discourse will change one bit based off of that speech. I mean, are petty assholes. That is RPC staff.
We have to learn
Anyways,
to-
it's a
You,
reflection of the
Scriber.
community.
We have to learn
More
to
so the
work
formal
together
warning.
as petty assholes.
Easier said than, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. It's a good thought. Keep it in mind.
Oh, I have something to bring up really quickly. Where are my tonal changes, Scriber?
They are being written, Blaren.
You said that like 3 months ago.
Proof?
Yes, and it has been a great personal failure. Anything you say isn't going to touch me.
Subscribe or link up.
Okay.
Proof?
Okay, Thermic.
Mm-hmm.
So-
Tell there's a lot on the staff meeting if that's the second thing brought up.
Do you guys... We gotta talk about the meeting that happened.
Yes.
What meeting is that?
I think he means the community meeting, the round table.
No, I don't.
Do you mean the?
I mean the meeting about BAF.
Oh. Okay. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Then.
I'm in the dark on this. Can you explain?
You were there, Thermic.
What's there to talk about it?
Okay, I guess some of you guys weren't there after. So I wasn't there during it, and I can't. There's no recording of during it, so I can't really talk much on that. I know Blaren and Zachary and Bath all made up and shit. Gage, please stop pinging me. So I'm not gonna go into that shit. I talked to Zachary for quite a while. We had a good conversation about that. Do you guys want to talk about what happened during the meeting at all, or do you want to just go right to what I heard after?
It doesn't.
Just basic. There was nothing like solid on either side. It was just a bunch of arguing.
That's unusual. It's like, what was it? It was slightly above average angry yelling. A little more personal, a little sharper. That's something I've kind of completely forgotten, and I'm pretty sure that's not unusual for people who were there. It's not like
Okay.
I walked away with it like PTSD. Oh God, I've been lied to. This community, people yell at each other. No, it happened. Well,
Can we
Coupon,
agree?
can I
Yes, Cole?
continue?
No, you go.
It's fine.
Oh my god.
Can we
I didn't bring
agree
anything
that it
up.
could have been solved with literal more communication and people just holding their tongue a little?
And I think people kind of overreacted at parts of it, and they turned it into something that it shouldn't have.
I feel for the people who are listening to the recording, they should get context for this.
Yeah, contact would be very useful.
People yelled at each other. The shit that happened after the meeting, though, is what I actually saw.
Okay, you're just saying they should yell at each other. What exactly happened?
All right. So what happened is that Blair and I and Zakar, we kind of got a little bit
Heated
about, and I think that things really took off after we were discussing parts of the one rule.
Oh my god.
I mean, I wasn't there, but I was firmly
Okay,
part of this.
Paul, can you just type it down and I'll read it out?
Sorry.
While he's typing that out, is there anything else anyone would like to bring up?
Well, I have something that's gonna lead right after off this.
Wasn't
Alright.
that whole situation made exceptionally worse by things in chat? Like, it's not even really the fault of people in voice, or it is, but not nearly as much. Like, that was just a weird, messy situation. Nah, kind of
It
par
was
for
a
the
touchy
course.
subject that blew up into a yelling match.
Call you still writing?
That before.
Call you still writing it out?
I really don't know why we're spending so much time on this.
No, I'm waiting for call.
Yeah, we're trying to get the context for the recording.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
And I can't be bothered to just have him repeat everything every 2 seconds because his mic is really terrible.
Yeah, it's boring, but we have to go over it.
that's true. This is a staff meeting. The Peanut Gallery, we're not here for your entertainment. Well, we are, but not for your constant entertainment.
Subscriber, draw more Wayward 10 porn.
Listen. You guys,
See,
you
I don't
guys,
even think that can revive Wayward at this point.
You
Blair.
guys
I can
don't-
try.
just
Also,
continue as I type this out. I need to collect my thoughts.
Okay.
By the way, Biggest has joined the call for the meeting.
Hello, biggest.
So, hi, biggest. So
All
there's a couple staff members who did not act appropriately after the meeting. And that was something that was very concerning. It was a lot more concerning than some of the stuff that was in the meeting. To those who made a CFO comparison or legitimately considered leaving in an NDI fashion, it's ridiculous. You have to know how far off that was. If you don't think that that was far off, you don't remember when CFO owned the site. Like, come on, guys. You need to talk shit out instead of arguing once in a staff meeting and then saying, oh, I'm leaving. It's
I recall
very,
that.
very silly.
I don't think you can take CFO calls completely seriously at any
Um,
time.
No, I listened to the recording about 5 times at this point.
People had
Coupon,
their emotions up, and I'm pretty sure all thoughts of that are gone.
wait,
I
Coupon.
know, but no, it's the problem when the people who are supposed to be keeping the community together are saying these things. It's absolutely against what we're trying to do here. We're trying to work together. That's not working together. That's manufacturing outrage.
With respect, I think they're.
So,
There's a
so can I
constant
speak
problem
on
with
what happened
communication
after the meeting?
Are you done typing out the context call?
No.
Can you type
Describer,
and
what
talk
were
at
you
the
going
same
to say?
time?
You've said your piece. I don't think what I had to say was
Let Sakari
particularly
speak, please.
constructive.
Since he
Yeah,
has
sorry, okay.
first-hand context, go ahead, Sakari.
There you go.
Here it
Alright,
goes.
so as someone who was there and someone who was on the recording, even though I totally forgot about the context of the meeting, well, that's the wrong way of putting it. I think everyone was caught on the high of that argument that played out in that meeting. Everyone was completely blown out of proportion, and everyone involved in that, myself included, was completely out of character from how we usually are. I can firmly believe that a good majority of us who were mentioning the idea of a vote of no confidence or splitting off and starting NDI 3 Electric Boogaloo or some shit like that is doing it with a half-hearted jokiness as a way to try to mitigate the situation personally, I feel
There was stuff that wasn't jokes there.
That's why I say majority.
Okay.
Because I personally just thought, as you can hear in the recording, I personally did say, let's play around with the idea. What would happen then? You know, it was everyone involved in that. Bath, myself, Blaren was completely out of character in that scenario, and I still don't quite understand how we got so heated so fast.
Hmm.
And again, I am sorry, Blaren and Beth, for the way I acted in that meeting.
Just for shit like that, when you're feeling really mad, you can't make assumptions about other staff. You have to communicate, especially for the people whose job it is to try and keep this community going and keep it together. Okay. Done with that?
All right. Any other concerns to bring up, or any other topics?
Just to
Wow.
go
Coupon.
over,
Context.
as a general rule, try and keep your staff issues in the staff Discord and sort shit out there instead of dragging it. Okay. Yes, Cole?
Actually, Coupon, would you mind if I talk to you in private after the staff meeting?
Yeah, we can.
All right.
All right.
I also think it would be pretty important if we record all future meetings, including lore team meetings, because I know there's a lot of stuff that people miss that happen in lore team meetings that are almost never recorded.
Hmm.
And I like hearing about the lore stuff, and sometimes I just can't make those meetings, so I would like to.
Yeah, Fizzlux makes a good point. What lore team meetings?
Yeah.
Alarm team meetings don't have to happen every fucking 3 weeks. Or...
They don't.
All right. Thermic, did you want to go over some of your stuff?
While Qual is writing the context, sure. I sent Coupon a file of sort of just a quick notepad of stuff that I've heard throughout the community throughout the past 2 to 3 weeks, and some of the suggestions that I've heard. So, first one here is I've been getting a lot of concerns that staff are in the office are shutting down conversations a lot of the time. Not shutting down conversation by demanding that people stop talking about it, but more so that it's waved away and not given any water.
This sounds reasonable.
Perhaps this also goes into the etiquette of how we're supposed to go into how we're supposed to talk in office. Just don't wave away any idea just because by first appearance it sounds really dumb. At least hear it out even a little bit. Next is a problem with over uploads at the moment. I especially see this currently with one user, like within the past 1 week, uploading 3 articles with when I was looking through their criticism, very basic criticism. So with that, I want to make a suggestion that maybe we should put up the critique requirement up by at least 1 or 2.
I would support bringing it up by 1. Yes.
Don't we have a rule that's like the critique has to be substantial before you can upload it if it's.
There's no rule on that sadly, and that's the problem I've been having now. That
Well, there is.
There is now.
But people ignore it.
There
is
always
the-
has
always
been.
been.
What What
Oh,
sort
well
of
then.
criticism have they been getting, Thermic?
I'll get them right now. But I'll send it to you in order to keep anonymity to this one user.
Okay, thank you.
The problem is that what people consider substantial is very subjective. So
Yeah.
people can consider like, oh, I like this, but I didn't like this, and that's the only thing they mention is that one thing.
Well, it should be of
Substantial.
5 points at least.
Yeah, but again, a lot of people don't really consider that.
Yeah, sorry, I've been busy this last week with work stuff, so I haven't quite been able to keep
Okay.
as much on top of the new stuff as I have been.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring them up in a bit. Hold on. There you go. I'll send the first one to Coupon, and I sadly won't be sharing this to everyone else because I want to keep the anonymity of this user.
All right.
It's only like 5 points is the problem.
Oh, that's fine.
And the problem I'm having is that it's really basic criticism. And I feel like there should be. I feel like we should at least have either higher expectation for one criticism or have two critics instead of one.
I will tomorrow morning go over all of this person's drafts and their articles and see what sort of level of quality they have. Just we're not holding up the meeting just on this right now.
Yeah.
Just
how close
say-
are you to finishing the context?
It's not as good as I'd like it to be, but it gives you a general idea of what was going on.
All right, I'll read it out then. Considering the meeting that happened, which I either don't remember or was not at, Zakari and Blaren got into a shouting match over the meaning of disrupting the community. The main part of the debacle was when Blaren said to ignore one part of the context of the rule, and Zakari misunderstood it as Blaren cherry picking. Blaren was mostly what I say. He got very heated, as well as Zakari. Blaren was also unwilling to let Bath speak for himself, though I will admit I took a lot of time arguing, though not as bad. I took up much more time than I needed to. I'm sorry. That was my bad. Eventually, it got to the point where Blaren decided to end it, as the meeting was going nowhere. And then we slipped into office. Now, as I will attain, no one was coping?
No one was
Cooing,
trying to
but-
coop Laren.
No one was
No.
cooing Blaren, and no one was splitting off. I specifically told us to calm down. Neither me nor Zakari nor Lupin were planning to vote of no confidence.
Well, I'm not saying that you were. I'm saying that
That
the
was
things
thrown
that
out a
you
bit.
guys said were not conductive to keeping the community together.
By the way, now I remember that now. It was such a fucking chaotic meeting that I kind of forgot it. Didn't even consider it a meeting. All right.
Okay, continue, Thermic.
All right. Next part of the list I made. Accounts should be older in order to join the site. We
How
have right
old?
now where no one made a clear suggestion, but for me, I recommend a week.
I don't think that'll really help much over the 2 days that we already have.
All I've heard is that some users would like that. They never really gave.
Who?
None of them really gave me
Why?
a suggestion. Users gave me. I think at one point Agent Star, if I remember correctly. Again, this is a compilation of things I've heard from other people and users in the community.
Coupon, would a 3-day waiting period where the account is like 3 days old help in any regard, or would that be pointless?
I don't know what it would help with.
Just ensuring that there's no raiders or anything like that. Like a raider would have to wait 3 days before he could actually get the goal that he's trying to do, which
It's never
would-
stopped the raiders that we've had before.
I think, but
Or
the
it
point, but
has.
the point is,
The
but
2
the
days
point is-
has, and it's
point
it's
is
working
that-
fine.
The point is to cause disinterest in the rating app, where it takes too long to even join in to
Right,
rate it.
but then a week might also kill interest in someone who wants to join RPC. And
That's a good
I've
point.
never heard of Wikidot before, but I've got to wait a week on this weird Polish wiki site.
Hence why I
Submit an application.
I see.
suggest 2 days, not a week. I agree that a week's a little too long, but 2 days should be fine.
We already wait 2 days.
Yeah.
Oh, in that case, everything's fine. I vote for status quo.
All right then.
I'll go for the status quo.
That would the other. That would be just down then. Next one. Article should have less than 3 stars with 10 votes to be deleted.
I think 3 is a little bit high. People in the community meeting. Oh, are you talking about with 10 votes, or are you talking about just raising it overall?
It's supposed to be like either it's the idea that you have to go by 3 votes or less, and 10 votes are required in order to be able to consider it.
That's stupid. Please stop
Things-
trying to raise it to 3. Please.
People have been very much for raising it to either 2.8 or 2.9. I think that any higher than that is too high.
2.9 is fine.
People will fight to the death over that like range of 4 to 3/10.
Yeah.
It is incredible.
What about the idea that there should be 10
Would you guys
votes?
want a community vote over that, or
I thought we've already done several votes, and people do want. The majority of people do want.
I mean, we did.
Majority is don't change. Every community poll, the majority is don't change.
It could be fun to facilitate some kind of discussion, but we've had the votes so many times.
I think we should just leave it as is, or if there is enough support for raising it, which is debatable, just by 0.1 to like 2.8. But I think we're all happy with 2.7 right now, or
All right.
most of us are.
Yes. What about the idea that it should be at least 10 votes needs to be done in order for
I disagree.
it to be considered?
I also disagree.
There's still a very low voting count on the site. I remember it's probably been like 10 months now, but the
What is it?
average article only does get about 6 votes.
What is currently the vote?
Sorry?
Like, how many votes are required?
6.
6. All right. With that, then we're just gonna drop that one then. Now the other one is, which this one will probably be cut down too because coupons already existed before, and I've been failing to participate in this a lot. Which was this: have staff host a quick orientation on responsibilities of teams and all team members. Additionally, any new members should undergo orientation as well. So essentially to get a rundown of what they're supposed to do when they either become a mod or a team member.
Coupon already
Yeah,
does that for staff. Lore team is generally filled with people who already know what they have to do, so this generally only applies to curation.
I mean,
Curation
it might be
and
useful to have the
mods.
teams like figure out some official things they want to do.
Yeah.
I remember Sinaticus wanted to do something about Lore Team, like it had this actual game plan vision, and then everything happened, and that's gone. So we kind of stumble along and do our thing. It would be
I
useful
can't-
to talk about it.
I can't speak for lore teams, but I can speak for staff. The reason why I was so harsh in the beginning was because I took the rules for face value. I didn't understand that you were supposed to be that you were supposed to interpret them liberally and not basically not do what Jerry was doing. And
Yeah.
What?
and it was very hard because you'd see like this one. You'd see like a staff member post like what you consider not safe for work, like titty pictures. I'm sorry, there's no way around saying it. It's titty pictures. And then you just be scratching your head on, wait, how is he posting that? And then I find out after having a long argument with Agent Star that that's fine. It's just okay if you don't show like the VJ, a PJ.
Yeah. So essentially, I think us as staff should be more focused on the idea that we should have an orientation for anyone going into the positions that they want to go into.
So you're saying like just a better sense of what every staff should do, not
Yes.
do.
But like
And
to
then,
the
so
staff
once
members
so
themselves.
you have to know that in order to also pass that on to the next people.
Yes.
I see no harm in that.
There's
No,
really
it's
no
good to
harm.
have a frank discussion of what you're supposed to be doing.
I just wanna-
Sometimes you might
Does
spot out.
anyone have any questions right now about that?
For me, I just want to make a standard protocol in order to do that.
I think that could be like a discussion they have among the different site staff, Discord staff. I could certainly see Lore Team discussing the things we need to do, the things we should be doing, the things we should be concerned about, and the things we should just ignore. Because there's some lines there that are unspoken, but each person might have misconceptions.
I'll remove this, Zach. Thank you.
And that was generally why the first week for me was so hard, because everyone acted under these specific rules that were unsaid. And I was like, wait, why aren't you doing this and that? Okay, you're not. Oh, I'm not supposed to do that? All right.
So
And it's always going to be tricky being staff at first.
anyone want to approve the idea of having orientation for any new staff members?
I approve
We
it.
say I already do that.
All right.
I personally approve.
We'll make it more standard protocol because it's more of like a wavy thing at the moment.
What do you want to change about it?
Just
Just
more
standardize the protocol.
Yeah. Exactly.
What does that mean?
Standardized. I think you. What do you mean? Like just having the different teams hash out what they're supposed to be doing, their guidelines, kind of like put to word, put into
Yes.
text those unspoken rules, so that you have
Yes.
a better sense. You have a better framework to pass on to new members. Because
Yeah,
right now,
well-
I think having more standardized protocols is meaningless. But figuring those out, figuring out what that means, so that you can pass it on to the next generation and figure out how you're going to do that, I think that would be more useful.
All right. So, what standardized means for me is leniency, because I do agree with Blair, and there is too much leniency. I can't make head to toe of what I should be doing or what I should.
Of course, no. Our PC staff often doesn't follow its own rules, and it's pretty chaotic at the best of times.
Again, I hate to go back to the titty pictures, but I can't really enforce the rules if it's just written in such a way that it can mean anything to any.
Well, then that's a discussion
And
that
then when I
Discord
have to
staff
enforce,
could have. That's a discussion site staff, lore team, curation, whatever can have.
and then
So
when
we talk a
people
while about it. I'll
are
bring it
posting it in droves, and then when people are posting it in droves, I have to take a stand. Otherwise, I just look like a bad staff. It's like seeing a burning building, and then just finding out it was a hologram. You have to stop. You have to do something about it, even though it's fake in real life. If you perceive it to,
Mhm.
you just have to do something, because
Call it
otherwise
that.
you look like. Oh, sorry.
Well, that's all I have for the list I made. This was just a quick thing that I've seen concerns
Does
that people had.
the
This one concern was brought by spam bots. The last one I mean.
All right. Oh yeah, and to the other suggestions, if you were the one who suggested it, the raising the crit requirements, don't have the misconception that we're just discarding it. That's just a really long-running argument. That won't end with this staff meeting. People will keep fighting to the death over it in the various channels. It's not a decision we can make here. But certainly your requests are not falling on deaf ears.
Yeah, that's all
all
I have
right?
for the list.
Do community rep and ex-community rep want to bring up the stuff that was discussed in the community?
Sure thing.
Absolutely.
Oh, pulling it. One second.
Actually, I have something to talk about the reps before we start, and it would be better if I got my opinions first.
All right, Blaren.
The reps, by and far, are synonymously useless, and for some reason, seen as an important part of the team, despite not actually doing anything. Some people might argue that, but if you go back and look at every rep's interpretation of what a rep should do and what they have done as a rep, it always is something they could have done as something like a lore team member or something as a staff member. The only thing that anyone has ever done to be good as a rep was at least Viz's polls, which Bosun carried on and added nothing new to the role. I was hoping, like, every rep, someone would add something new to do, but Bosun lacks creativity, so that was not the case. That leads me to this next point. That is, I don't know what to fucking do with this shitty role. Everyone seems to love the community rep idea, but it does nothing. They do nothing that I couldn't send them as like a lore team member or a staff member. They do nothing. So I'm gonna open up to the community. I'm dropping a link to a poll where you can give me what you think community reps should do. I'm putting it in staff voice and voice. If we can't get it to work with these ideas, I'm scrapping it. I already said I'd scrap it and it fucked up, and Zakari hit that nail straight on the head. But I'm gonna give it one more shot. One more. That's all I have to say. Yes, Kursk, what is your question before we continue? Let's remove your moderator role. Okay. And let's... where is Natiko mute? Goodbye. Alright, continue on.
Detected. Fun
Thanks,
detected.
thanks, Blaren. Very cool.
I'm sorry. I
Fun
clicked the wrong-
detected.
Anyway, continuing on from. So,
Oh, that is kind of a good point. As both the reps here know, I went around to all of our previous reps and asked them questions about how to make this job easier and manageable. And pretty much almost every single one of them said that it's impossible to make it more manageable. They just have to care less and to not insert themselves into every situation. Like, it's the majority was that it's a completely unrealistic standard to hold oneself to, and it's almost impossible.
Blaren, permission to speak. Blaren brings up a very good point about the community role that I've basically kind of came to last night. Because I understand that I made campaign promises during my campaign for community rep role, but over time, and as I am doing my community rep stuff, a lot of the stuff that I've done, I could have done not as community rep. I could have done as a regular member of the community. I haven't even done the bare minimum, which was doing community votes, because I was so shit afraid of doing it that I would accidentally piss off staff or piss off the community stuff. The community rep role the intention is to build a bridge between the moderators and the community and to help, be a communication link. But personally speaking, I am shit at that. So it's for me personally, it was a stressful position that had no reason to be stressful, if that makes any sense.
In my opinion, if I may, in my opinion, what a community rep should be doing is whenever staff is doing a thing, like, okay, we want to make this contest, or okay, we want to do this poll, or something like that. What does the community think? The community representative should be able to answer that question, and they should be able to know or have a general idea of what the community thinks about a certain issue at large. And if they can't answer that question, then they're, in my opinion, not doing their job properly.
You pointing
I
that
think
out
it
kinda
should
made me
be on
realize-
the shoulders of staff as well to go out and get those answers for themselves too. Putting
Well,
it
there's-
on one person in the rep position is completely unfair and really unrealistic. We all have our toes in different areas of
that
I'm gonna say
that
right now,
thing-
with that being said, it seems that we're trying to mix in democratic elements and republic elements that don't mesh well. Where we're trying to not only have representatives that are trying to say what the community are trying to say, but also have votes we're trying to say what the community want to say. It's either general elections or we have elections on who is supposed to represent the community. And I think that's
There,
the problem we're having.
well, that idea, Kaiser, sounds great on paper, but then you gotta realize that what some users say they want to do and what the majority of users want to do, and they're not as loud, can sometimes be vastly different. Like
Yeah.
for example, the crit requirements or the deletion threshold. We've had that argument that for like a whole 2 days straight in office. Like, there was a very loud minority. I'm not gonna say who, but there was a very, very, very loud minority that wanted to lower the crit and wanted to lower the deletion threshold or raise the lower. They wanted to lower the crit requirement. They wanted no crit requirement at all. But then we had the community vote on it, and everyone wanted to keep the crit the same or just raise it. So, as someone who's community rep, you get deafened by that loud minority and not knowing what the true majority wanted to do. And it was frustrating and maddening.
I'm gonna
That's
drop
what polls are for.
I'm gonna drop the answers that the community reps gave into the voice channel here, just so that others can read it over as well and give their suggestions.
Another suggestion for the position of community rep is just have community reps act as a sort of temporary mod elected by the community.
I think that I have to agree. I think that.
Oh, sorry, Qual.
Okay, so I'm going to speak from the heart here. I think that part of the reason that why community rep isn't working is because there's a lot of unsaid. Again, with the orientation, there's a lot, right? Like here, there's a lot of unspoken expectations. I don't think that we fully clarified when we give them this. I think that I also think that it's also changed. Like I think, huh?
You clipped out.
I'm saying that I think that there's a lot of unset expectations from staff for new community members that don't get aired out because there's little to none communication on that. And usually when it's usually in a heated argument where no one really wants to take what the other person is saying serious.
No, we have given them plenty of communication between what we want to see from a community rep, from Encrum's fucking manifesto on what a community rep is, from multiple meetings on what we want a community rep to do. It's just not working.
Forgive me
We have
if
tried multiple times to list what we want a community rep to do, and it just doesn't work.
Everything just works.
What,
Forgive
Scriber?
me if I'm wrong on that, Thermic. Making them a mod isn't part of the reason that community reps are a thing is to give the community bread and circuses, and then give them they get to elect a pseudo mod.
One of the things that someone mentioned
Yeah.
was that they think it's really good that they're not getting mod powers, right? Whereas Zachary mentioned that it would be really helpful during community meetings for the round table, just to make that more manageable.
Or that one time when no one on staff was online and someone was posting all those inappropriate pictures and only community reps are online, but we didn't have power to mute them.
That's why I think that maybe a pseudo that making them sort of like a temporary mod will be a good idea.
No,
Some
Thermic!
amount of All
Their
right.
predecessors have messed that up for them.
Boasted and Tarp?
No, Thermic! You really, it's taking you this long? Victor!
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, what's so wrong about pimping out the bread and the circuses? Just make this painfully democratic.
Democracy
Like,
does
from-
not work.
From these replies, the only one who said that it wasn't, I guess, in some way stressful would be Bosun.
Yeah, because we
Wow.
ripped on him for not doing anything.
Yeah,
and then
he's
Lupin
both-
and Zakari came along with this Google Doc full of things they do, and then they didn't do much of it. And it was actually time, because when you get into the position, suddenly you have all these people yelling at you, expecting you to listen and represent them, and all your plans just filter out the window like paper blowing in the wind.
I think that the real problem with when they that not only was it too much to do, but it had little. Like what Blaren said, a lot of that stuff was good, but it was self-serving. It really didn't do anything for the community. It was more personal projects that they said they would get done under being staff than what would actually be productive for the entire team and for the.
I wouldn't say that it was it wouldn't help the community at all. Like those are nice things for the community to have. But you're right that it's not very conductive towards the team setting and to actually bridging any sort of gap between staff and community.
Bridging the gap between staff and community sounds very, very nice, but it's difficult to find out what that actually means. and how
Lupin, do you
to-
have anything to say about these? Sorry, ICF.
No worries, because I was done anyway.
Yeah, all I'm going to say is I'm going to agree that the position is much more stressful than it has any right to be.
It's what you make it. It's stressful if you make it stressful.
All right. So is that basically covered now? You're already like getting a vote down and everything?
Well,
I mean, do we have any
on
solutions? Sorry, sorry.
Well, for the record, last night I have stepped down as Discord community rep, so I figured I should mention that for the record considering we are recording. So, anyway, I feel like we can continue now.
Does anyone have any solutions or suggestions after reading that doc and hearing this stuff?
It's just that I feel like if we do get rid of this, we're gonna lose like a big chunk of getting our site members and a connection, bridging a connection between staff and
Sapphire
I
and
think we
the community.
get rid of it.
Do
I
you
just
think-
think we need a better discussion on the community reps. It feels kind of weird to hear staff saying these reps aren't doing what we said reps do. Like, is that for us to decide? I mean, I guess we gave them the election. We
that's
give
what
them
Blair-
power. Is this all just an illusion and we're puppet masters?
This
Did
is
you read the
exactly why
doc?
Blair said that he made the poll.
No. I don't think we're going to come up with a solution tonight, no.
I don't think so either. It's gonna
Although,
probably check tomorrow.
once we're all done with that, there is some suggestion or some conversation topic being brought up in voice by Akaibu. Seconded
Yeah.
by others.
I
I
agree
think-
with it. I agree with the point.
We're pretty much done with that for now. Just
Yeah.
think on it.
Yep. No, there's a value in bringing up that something's not working.
But I
Very
do,
well.
I do agree with the Kaibu or Queen of Inspiration that we should work towards deleting or moderating RPC Inspiration to get rid of
Shitpost?
just blatant memes.
Yes, for
yeah, just
context, Akaibu posted, quote, could we maybe have less shitposting happening in RPC Inspiration? Or at least deleting it so it doesn't clog up the actual contribution of the channel.
I agree with
It's
that.
supposed to already be happening.
It's supposed to be, but
Akaibu.
May I
Is
make a
Akaibu in
suggestion?
VC?
Bat 5 used it.
Does this have something to do with the RPC Inspiration?
Yeah.
All
Why
right.
can't we just limit it to just original creations within the RPC Inspiration? That way.
What do you mean original
Oh.
creations?
No,
Like-
RPC Inspiration's
artist
whole
for-
thing is for posting images, whether you took them yourself on your smartphone camera or you found it on the internet, mostly the latter, and posting it so people can get inspired. It's just posting memes and stuff clogs up the channel.
Akaibu.
I think that
Just
if we're
ping
gonna-
me when Just
Sorry.
ping me
go
when you see a shit post in RPC Inspiration, and I'll try and take care of it for you.
I mean, I'm not Discord staff, so my laziness is concentrated in another part of RPC. But Discord staff need to check that more often. And users, it's hard to ask to just say this, but don't be afraid to tag people, to tag staff in who are online and say, check this out. It's their job. They signed up for this.
How many Discord mods do we have right now?
I think 5.
Online 4. Let me check right now. In total. In total, we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
6.
That's quite
Is
low.
that including me?
No, it's not including you. If we include you, it's 7 plus the admin.
So around about 9. Yeah.
Stock RPC inspiration for memes.
No more
What?
memes. No more memes.
There you go.
Is this like a specific? Is this like a specific job you want me?
If you can do it, yeah. Keep an eye on it.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right. At least I have something of which you can objectively measure my skill by.
I think
All right.
Discord... Oh, go on.
Sorry, Scriber.
No, I'm
going to be
place,
changing the
actually.
subject.
Yeah, go on.
Okay. Learn your place, boy.
Go.
Okay.
Go
Community
Coupon.
reps. Do you guys want to go over that community meeting now?
Can we?
Oh boy, would I?
First of all, let me grab. So we ran everyone's opinions on. It was brought up during roundtable that of Pearson's proposal, not so much of the text, but just the logo change for the RPC.
For the RPC,
changing of the RPC site, changing the logo to the all white version instead of keeping it the black and white version.
By the
A
way,
lot of people were in
Lupin.
support of it.
Sorry. I just want to say, is that the font that's proposed or the current font?
Just
no,
the
just the logo.
The font has nothing to do with it. It's entirely.
We'd be
okay.
keeping the font, but we just change it from the black and white logo to just white.
I mean, wasn't this part of a community vote? Didn't we vote on this at some point?
Oh, we
No.
never voted on that.
And again, I want to see a photo of how that logo would look on our site currently.
Actually, I think that some of our articles already use.
Yes, no, but they use the whole thing. This is
Yeah.
just about the logo itself, nothing else.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
The second point was what we were going to do about the person of interest. It ended up resolving in that most people said that they'd like to see the persons of interest list treated similar to the MST registry, where you can write whatever person of interest you want, but it has to get approved for alert team. And it should have a full page format like what our current MSTs have.
So it'd be like a page with a bunch of links, and then if you follow a link, then you get the full context on the person.
Yeah.
His
like,
Lux is
links to the
asking for
articles.
unmute because this is a lore team matter. Can someone?
Sure, I'll
Yeah,
go.
speak, Vizlox, the most active of
You're
us all.
unmuted.
And
And
also
Bosun.
Bosun.
Oh yeah, wait, give me a moment.
My brothers, speak.
Bosun has an
I-
opinion.
I
Alright,
think that
Listen.
Okay, fine, you
Person of
can
interest. Person of interest is the biggest section on the site for Mary Sue Bait possible, which means it needs to have the strictest guideline, not the least restrictive.
That's why I said it had to be approved by a lore team.
I think we should
What
just.
are we now, the
completely
arbiters
delete the
of
person.
Well,
Mary
here's the thing,
Sue's?
Lupin. It has to be approved. It has to be approved by lore team anyway.
I mean,
They're just trying to ask to get the article number requirement removed, which
how
is
many-
dumb and gay.
how many POIs?
I
do we
want
have
to
right now?
completely delete the page. It's useless. No one,
Because-
no. Clearly,
We have
there's
one.
no interest in writing for it.
Well,
I
the
wanna-
issue is that the article requirement is too high for just a person.
Why
Yes, that is
should?
a legitimate complaint.
that's too damn bad.
Yeah, I
Well,
want.
it is a legitimate
I
complaint.
Why
agree
should
with
we have a
lowering it
list
by
of
one article,
underdeveloped characters?
By the way,
What'd you say, Blair?
Man.
if you want to lower it by one article, I completely agree with that.
I don't think it should have no articles. I think it should be at least one article.
I
that
said lower it by one.
Oh,
The thing
it's
that
3 right
people
now.
The thing that people complain about most with the requirements
I
is
wouldn't
that
say
a
lowering it
person.
at all.
Let me talk. Is that a person, a character, is fundamentally different than writing an organization. You can get someone else excited into writing about an organization because it's just themes. They sketch out their own characters. We're all writing for, God forbid, KK, but you have your characters, I have my characters. You write under the umbrella of KK. A character is one character. How some people aren't comfortable with signing off that character to another author.
I don't think just because it's harder to write means we should lower our standard.
No, it's not harder. It's just they might not capture the character right. If you have a really cool character with their motivations, their personality, their backstory, is someone else going to capture it correctly? Is someone else going to do them justice? Will it be more than just a mention of a paragraph in a tale, which is all that Olesk has in my tale, and I think he's one of the POIs now. That's the concern they have. I don't think it's necessarily with the article number, although it is. It's mostly with having two people write for the same unique character.
Well,
And that's kind of a difficult problem to have. We've had discussions on it before.
Well, I understand that settlement, but you also got to give the opportunity of the other edge of the sword, and that's if you put that character up there and you allow someone to take up that mantle, they may came up with alternative avenues for that character that you probably couldn't come up with to probably evolve that.
Right. Well, then, yeah. No, there's options on both sides. There's arguments on both sides.
Yes, you're right, Agent Star. The POI requirements are just the GOI requirements copy pasted and more thought out to be requirements. But
Right,
if
GOI
we were to
don't-
think out, but if we were to really flesh out the requirements for POI, I would want it to be even more restrictive than GOI requirements. So I really,
Yeah, honestly,
just thinking it out
from what
more
I
is probably
see,
not going to go the way you.
From what I see, the two options that have been floated are revamping it so it's more specific and preserving the scale of a POI, because the POI article is a full article. It's a lot of text. It was designed to be a legitimate alternative to writing an RPC article or a tale. It has that length. It's supposed to fill that niche. I believe Fnatic has created it with that purpose. The other option would be to make the POI list less demanding, had to have less scale. So it'd be like a list of names, and the link you followed wouldn't be quite as impressive. It'd be like a picture, links to the articles they're in, the tales they're in, and then a summary or something. It wouldn't be like this huge fuck off thing you have to write through.
Well, that's the thing. That is, if it's that small, would it even be counted as a person of interest?
Yeah, it'd be
It
more
would
like
just be a person who's
it'd be more like a repository for the recurring characters on the site. So I think those are the two kind of options, or leaving it as is, which is always the third. It's good that was brought up in the community rep discussion. I'd be interested in, if there's any more details about it, hearing that from you, Lupin, at a later date with the board team. Because I don't want to hold the entire staff meeting hostage about this, because it's just us circle jerking in the lore corner.
I mean, what we could do is we could add that little smaller character repository while also keeping the POI section for bigger characters, and that would let us make the POI section more restrictive with forcing people to not write characters because it's too much work.
So it'd be like the recurring characters list below, and then above it you'd have the it's the POI section. These boys are serious.
So like what our MSTs are now.
If we do that, we should not have the whole POI page on the site anymore. We should wait until we actually have characters that would go on it before.
Well, if you
like Anders?
Yeah.
Oh fuck! Never mind. Kill myself.
We have exactly we have exactly one POI, and as nice as a POI as it is, I think if we should remove it from the site while it gets reworked. Don't you think?
There are other recurring characters that could fit into a less strict, less big scale version of the list. This is a discussion we're going to keep having.
I mean, I can draft up a POI page example.
Well, just tell us what the community thought, and we'll have another discussion.
All right. Well, community was in favor of changing it to be like the MST list and MST rate.
Okay, so we'll talk about this later. Apologies to all the people we've had our hands around their necks listening to this.
No, it's fine.
Biggest Ted wants to talk. Sure.
Yeah.
Aren't you in a public place?
Till you scream about RPC in public, you're not a real staff member.
Yeah, can I just say, by the way, Coupon, I looked at the rep poll and like, holy shit, I didn't expect everyone else's answers to be so long.
I thought yours was quite
Mine is, like,
humorous,
3
Bosun.
sentences.
It gave me a real good chuckle.
Just wow.
The Virgin Wardy X rep, the Chad Bosun.
Let the Aussie talk.
Alright.
Biggest?
Oh, what the hell? I'll just keep this thing pushed down to talk for some reason. It's really not working. It's out of shit. Anyway, what I was going to say was just Qual, if he's still there, I agree. We ban all titty pics. And second thing we should probably talk about is just a couple of other suggestions that I've heard about. One of the guys in the law server, I think it was talking about possibly making like a do's and don'ts about writing groups of interest, which could really help stop shit like KK becoming giant fetish bait material.
Ha!
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
I know Tog's been talking
You
about
helped
that.
it! You helped it be where it is!
Biggest Ted, you can't turn back on your sins.
You
can
I
repent.
never wrote an article for it.
You co-signed that.
You must repent.
I think that Tog was talking about starting making one of those.
Yes, Tog, unlike most of the
Can
writers,
I-
has a decent grasp on what makes it not fetish bait.
Can I just say some of the
Just
best
squished liver with
KK
one
articles?
here.
Some of the best KK articles were written by Otto, and it's a fucking tragedy that he.
Yes.
I know. I'm very upset about it as well.
And
Wait, tragedy that what?
I'm very upset about it as well. I agree with
Good
Bosun.
KK articles, get out of my sight.
You'll see.
Listen,
I'm writing one.
Listen, Coupon,
me.
how to
You
carve
guys
niggers
stop
was an
that.
amazing article.
I would like to publicly apologize for creating cake.
No, Lupin.
that was Lib.
That's not
Lib
enough.
was the one that created KK.
No,
Yeah,
I know.
Lupin just
With me.
throws out 50 GOI drafts today until he can round up 5 people. No, 3 people to write for him.
Actually, KK, when I first started, it started with 8 people.
Who is mewing?
This is an amazing people.
Continue.
That people that
Biggest.
Anyway, yeah, I might have co-signed it, but I was just following what the community wanted. They made the articles, and yeah,
I was just
yeah,
following
I was
orders.
just
Following orders.
Biggest Ted quoted from Nuremberg, 1945.
Fuck, I should have seen that coming.
All right. What? Anything else? Biggest.
I'm trying to remember. I didn't exactly write a list down, but let's see. Object class rewording. We just got 3 other things to look at, and then we can like completely remake the object class page. Just
I'm
3
waiting for-
things.
Waiting for Vaughn on that. Has he made any progress on it, or have I been?
He's
like,
done.
unblocked?
He's done the object class, the actual object class reword. I'm just looking for 3 other things: the introduction tab, the primary containment rating, and the esoteric containment ratings, which I don't even know if we use them anymore. And the third one is the lethality, if it needs any rewording.
Lethality doesn't really need rewarding because we didn't take it from anywhere. It's our own original thing.
I know, but still, best just to take a look at it while we're doing everything else.
Right.
And context for people who are listening to this in the recording or who don't know, turns out a lot of our object classes descriptions were straight up copied from SCPs. Like, the Control V copy pasted, so we're making that not so.
Well, a lot of
This
them.
was the
A lot,
CFO
3 of them,
era.
because
CFO.
because SCP has only 3, so only 3 were.
That's true. So we're trying to rewrite them to preserve the exact same message behind it, because people have written all their RPCs with that in mind, but also not have the actual text be a complete copy.
Sounds good.
I can see the comments right now. Oh my god, they meant to steal from SCP.
Right.
Well,
Yes,
you know
we
what?
did.
They
SCP
stole from
fucking stole the
SCP.
ACS
We were
right from
an
me,
SCP
right
clone to
from
begin with, mates.
We've been going for an hour. Can I just
Make-
finish up the
Make sure
community
stop, like,
suggestion?
complete clone.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Ascriber.
What is it, Blaren?
Don't have to worry about you copying anything because you don't write. I just wanted to throw that out there.
I can
Did
What-
he
no,
write
Blaren, that's the
666?
first time you've spoken in how many minutes?
Oh,
Just
I need
put a
Six.
knife in the front of my chest. It's not a
I
knife
mean,
in my back. It's the
6
front of the
minutes.
chest.
Scriber, do
Me
you
in the
need some
eyes.
cold water? Do you need some ice? I can get you some ice.
Do
if
you need
need
some
it.
water, retard?
So, another idea that had the comedians split, but they were more in favor of, is colors for the neutralized threat levels.
We don't
Why
need
would-
them.
We don't need a color for neutralize, being honest.
It depends on whether or not the thing is dead. Is it fully understood? Then colors can apply.
The
Is it
gray
dead? Then
implies
gray.
death in the first place. The gray is thematic more than it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't change gray. Gray implies death.
Yeah, under
No,
the
but
current definition, it
neutralized.
shouldn't have colors, but in the current rewrite for it, it would have colors.
Why would it
I
have
like
color?
it.
Why would it
having
matter?
colors. I think that's just a cool option, and I don't see any reason to not include it.
Okay, for really quick, colors.
Well,
were-
I guess we
hold on,
could use it to
guys.
kind of denote what it used to be, but still, I don't think that. I'm still not sure.
Denoting what it used to be would be better if they had like the cross out sort of aesthetic going on. That way you
Just-
can understand what it was before,
A
or
lot of-
even
a lot of
like
the-
archive version of it, where it's just like iterations instead
Stop
of just-
overcomplicating it.
Just go neutralize
Essentially-
previously like alpha black or something like that. Easy.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking.
I would. I generally do not. I generally think that if neutralize gets colors, I think that just doesn't look thematically good.
Yeah,
Is this
it's
another
just an option.
situation
It doesn't
where
have to look good.
Other
It's-
people have a discussion, it gets brought up in staff meeting, and then a bunch of staff who never heard of it bring their unsolicited opinions on it. Which
I
is
mean-
basically a mirror of the discussion they had out of here.
I understand if it's an option, but like but we're trying to create like a tight knit sense of this is just one entity thinking straightforward about its goals. I think that
I don't know
think
what
that
you
we
mean
should
by
have
that.
it.
This sounds like something that should be discussed outside of the meeting. He's
Yeah,
just
let's
telling
move
us
on.
what happened. I don't think
Last
any of the
thing to-
community expects for us to have the unknowable wisdom to suddenly settle their problems they were having in the rep meeting, because we
Mhm.
don't. We are in many ways less IQ than everyone else.
Especially
I know I
you.
am. Hey,
we
I beat you
need
to
a
it this
schedule.
time.
We need a
No!
schedule.
I mean, if you don't like the colors, you can still use gray. It's not like we're deleting that.
All right, let's move on. Is there anything else that we have on the agenda for?
Yes, two
Just
other.
one last thing I want to talk about. Bloody, can we swap Boston out of the law team for someone else?
Hey, fuck you, Austin.
Well, I mean, this is the lore team.
Maybe that's for, maybe it's
I don't
for
care.
one
He
meeting.
doesn't do.
Kick
He
Bozo
basically
off so
barely
that I
does
can just
anything.
implement
I
multiple
think it's better to
cannon.
stay
I
there
just
for
want
the
to
lore
implement
meeting.
multiple cannon. I'm sorry. I just want to
know what?
implement multiple cannon. Can we just remove all the single cannon members from lore team, please?
All right, hey, Bosun. Give me a number between 1 to 10.
7.
All right, I'll check if you sent a single message in Lord Team for the past 7 days.
Oh no! Oh shit!
Just skip the middleman and ban
Oh,
Bosun.
it's starting to get boring in here.
Reminder
Oh
that-
wow,
Right,
you
wait,
haven't
cool.
sent a message in Lord Team for 3 fucking weeks.
Reminder that Austin has sent 96 messages in lore team total.
91.
I think
Sorry, 91.
I think you're just I think you're just salty.
Hey, Bosun, we ping you in lore team, and then we see you
Yeah,
don't
and then I
respond,
check to
and
see-
then
and then
you're
I check to see
invisible,
what the
but
issue-
you're still talking
No,
enough
because I
topic to
checked-
back.
No, because I checked to see what the issue is, and then I see that it's Lupin pinging us for some shit, and then Vizlog sees it. Yeah, all right, I'll get to work on fixing. What do you
It's
want
me-
me to say?
I ping for votes all the time, and you never vote.
And I vote. I vote.
Let's
Listen,
just give
listen,
Bosun
listen.
until the next staff meeting, and if he doesn't bring up his activity, then we can just throw him
Hey,
into the
Biggest,
ravenous
we're the
community.
Discord
That next
admin.
one
Do
will
you
be
wanna
better.
do it?
Listen,
The next
Boston.
The next lore meeting will be better.
Listen, Boston. Take it from a Janny. All you have to do is just say nothing and just pretend to be there and contributing. And
Well,
that
That's not working
Yes.
well for anyone.
But Qual,
okay.
You're not a Janny, you're a G.
It's okay, Bosun. I gave you change.
Same
Don't
thing.
worry.
Bosun, I better see you giving out at least 10 messages per second per
Well,
hour,
yeah,
or else I'm
yeah,
going.
Well, you know what I think I will do. Moen was talking shit about like ACS and Humes earlier, and I think I want to have like a formal debate where I just destroy him. So
Okay.
that might be
Having-
my next lore
Base.
team activity.
Having ridiculous and completely unproductive lore arguments is Lord Team tradition. So if you do that, you're one of us.
Yeah, you go.
This nigga says Humes is better. I'm gonna fucking rip his asshole a new.
Then do it. That'll count for your activity.
One of the things
what topic
that
do you
was
have?
brought up in the community meeting by Zachary was to increase more transparency. Specifically, when some steps are either taken on Discord or on site that aren't communicated, and that leads to a lot of miscommunication with the community, especially when there's like, for example, if staff members are in a voice chat together when something happens, and then that stuff isn't communicated on the staff Discord, and people are left saying, well, what the hell? What's this about? And I asked Zachary for more examples on that, but then the conversation moved on. So Zachary, if you want to do that now, that would be great.
The biggest thing about miscommunication I've been seeing a lot is involving just how we run in general, in terms of what a lot of writers try and like the threats and hazards and the object classes and all this other stuff. And along with the staff and community miscommunication as well. It's very broad. I could get into it, but I feel like I would be holding up time for the staff meeting. The long and short of it is we need to talk more, damn it.
Like we need to make more
Yeah,
physical logs on the site in the Discord.
You know what you could do, Zakari? If someone asks you how the objects class system would work, you could link them the very convenient video you made explaining the object class system.
I could, but
You
it's
know-
outdated.
You know what we need to do
it?
is we need to
Damn.
we
We'll
need
make
to
it
go we need to go to like decisions made and stuff like that and look at logs and update them more regularly when things like this happen, when like changes are made and all that stuff.
Would it kill us to have more formal documentation on the site itself? Because I know we expect a card-carrying RPC user to be on the Discord, but they might not be. And even if they do, sometimes people show up in the office going, I didn't know this place existed.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yes, thank you, Scriber, because
Well,
not all of our...
What do you think we should do about it, Site Rep?
What do you want to fucking?
Well, I mean,
I mean, I'm not advocating for us to make like Circle Jerk Prime. Here's the 05. I mean, Global Director Wikidot and log all our shit there.
Scriber,
Just like a
you are...
I would
Scriber,
like-
you are a genius.
I would like a lot if other staff also made, and I need to improve on this too. I try to update the front page as much as I can when there's news and stuff, but I'm really bad about updating the forum announcements. I would love if more people would start doing that.
Like at a minimum, could we like just post our decisions made logs on the site somewhere, like in a thread, locked thread?
Yeah.
Just to
I
give them
can-
a basic sense that we are in fact meeting and we are discussing things like people, and that's happening. You just can't see it from the site because you
No.
wouldn't have a sense of that otherwise.
I think I'll start doing that, and at the same time linking the meetings when they're uploaded.
That's a good start because I think they mean a lack of transparency, as in a lot of like nitty gritty detail stuff that can spiral out of control when there's miscommunication also doesn't get posted on Discord and site. But it'd be a nice step to just start posting, as you said, decisions made logs and the meetings themselves on the site somewhere. Maybe even a link on the site to another place that has a better, like, comprehensive archive of it. But that's not for this meeting. That's just
What
Cool.
people mean when they say lack of transparency is lack of communication in general. Like we're pretty transparent when we actually communicate, but the problem is it's not much communication going on.
right. And us thinking that we are in fact transparent also sometimes shoots us in the foot because we're not as alert to the lack of transparency when it does happen.
Very
so we have
true.
a voice meeting that no one records, or an obscure but important conversation in some far off channel.
Yes.
We tend to overlook that because usually it happens in office and you can see us yelling at each other. Very enlightening.
Okay, Homo. Speaking of important communications that are left unsaid, GOI freeze. Literally everyone except for the usual suspects who are creating 5 GOIs at any given time were okay with the GOI freeze. Is anyone not okay with the GOI freeze?
I mean,
What
my only
exactly
thought-
does-
It's a very complicated thing.
Thank you,
What-
all at once!
What exactly? would
Still
the
all at
GOI
once.
freeze? What exactly would the GOI freeze entail?
Yes.
Would it just be uploading to the official GOI
Uploading
page?
New GOIs, articles that are trying to build on new GOIs in the hopes of getting a new GOI uploaded during this time would be held on a halt.
So, just clarify. Articles right now that have GOIs in them. If someone uploads something with that same GOI, say a GOI that has 3 articles, they're not accepted, that would be deleted.
For GOIs that are already on the site with, I'd say, 3 articles, that's fine. I think any with less than 3 aren't fine.
How are we supposed to quantify that? Because I don't
Quantify
know
that by
all-
saying if there's more than 3, it's fine. If there's less than 3, it's not.
But like, how am I supposed to search that and find that?
By
Look for the
tags?
tags. See how many.
Not all of
RPGs
them
are-
have tags.
Oh, if it
They
doesn't
should
have
have-
tags,
Talking
then
law
delete it
server.
and tell them to go get tags.
You could try talking to the law server. I know quite a couple of people go in there to arrange their stuff, so maybe checking
Yeah.
there a little bit.
Having a tag for every work in progress GOI is such a great idea. That wouldn't be horrible tag blood at all.
I hate
Yeah,
you.
I'm
Viz.
not
No
sure
one
if
cares about the tag system anyway, Viz. When you go into the tag system, you know what you want to find.
Yes.
I'm personally fine with freezing the hub. I don't want us to delete people's works. I'm
I
always
don't
against that.
I'm
I don't
fine
believe
with freezing the hub too.
Okay,
I'm
then
against.
we're doing it a different way. It wouldn't be deleting, it would be disallowing uploads.
I'm against disallowing uploads.
I'm against
I'm
disallowing
fine with freezing the
uploads.
hub.
Fine with freezing the hub.
I'm also
my only
fine
issue-
with freezing the hub.
Hell, I'd be fine with-
don't really have much of a say on.
Hell,
What's
I'd
the
be fine
point?
with freezing the hub and making it like a Thunderdome style. We approve 1 GOI every 2 months during the freeze or something. So
Listen-
you
listen-
better make sure
Oh,
yours
that
is
sounds-
the best.
Well, that would
Okay.
That'd be
if
fine.
that's the case, that would just be normal GOI.
Yeah. What's the
creation.
point? What's the point of freezing the
Um,
hub, but then allowing other GOIs?
Yeah, I don't see
to
the
come on,
point.
like articles come on the site?
Trying to
You can't-
softly
the
dissuade
problem-
people from
Oh.
making
that
crappy
doesn't.
ideas.
It's not gonna work like that, though.
Oh,
They're still
by the
gonna
way,
make articles.
God, we
There-
kinda need
there
to
is
talk
a
about
lot
that
of-
as well.
In that
There
case,
is a-
I'm greatly against preventing people from writing their ideas in any way, shape, or form. That totally oversteps the boundaries of staff, in my opinion.
There's a lot of
Well,
first
here's
I second that.
clout over actually
Alright.
getting your GOI on the GOI page.
This-
I think
There's a-
that is.
Well,
The
writing-
inherent problem with freezing the GOI hub is that it locks us in with some admittedly boring GOI.
Yeah, let's get rid of
Staff
Malthus.
too.
Okay, retard.
How long is this freeze going to happen? Is it indefinite until we decide?
Well,
not
I
to,
mean,
or, like,
if we're just
a
doing
month?
that, basically you can still do shit about your GOI while it's going on, and it's gonna be worthless. Why wouldn't it just go on forever?
What are the
I mean,
exact goals of the freeze?
To get people to work on current GOIs. But if we do it in a way where, yeah, you can just still upload your fucking one article about your chicken shit GOI that's never going to get any more work by other people besides yourself, then it doesn't have any impact.
Okay, so not doing that, it would be
Also,
you
so
can
the point of
upload
the GOI
articles on GOIs that have 3 or more articles.
So let me get this straight, Blair. And the point of the GOI freeze is to force people to work on GOIs that aren't interested.
Yeah.
You're one of those
Actually-
people that thinks only
actually-
news shit is interesting, aren't you, Bosun? Bosun, are you even
No, I'm
staff?
one. No, I'm one.
Are you even staff?
Clarence,
I'm
Clarence,
one of
calm down.
Larry, he is
Calm
14.
down.
He gets to speak.
Yeah.
People that thinks
Well,
AEP and
from
gear are
1992,
dumb GOI.
Hey, please,
they're just
stop
board
shutting
splinter.
over.
They're board splinters. They're not interested. And I think forcing people to work with AEP or
I
gear.
agree.
or some shit
AEP is
is dumb.
boring. That's all I have to say.
Wow.
It's
Yeah.
one of those
Well,
things
here-
where
Can I say something?
forcing people to make more articles with it won't make it more interesting. So freezing the GOI
No,
hub in order to force them to work.
and I have wanted to remove AEP ever since I didn't get what I wanted out of the merger. So
What? Why
Um,
not? Why not have the freeze until we decide if people actually want to work on the current GOIs or not, or if the current GOIs are done for now.
Having a
I can
freeze
answer that.
also, it also means that we'd really have to quantify what constitutes a GOI. Are people not going to be allowed to upload works that include any group of people in their articles, or does it have to do with their intent to make that group of people a GOI, or how is that going to work?
I'm fine if they don't
Organizations-
refer to it as
well,
a group
GOI's
of interest.
definition, if you would look on the page, is
Uh,
organizations that exist to suppress paranormal activities.
Well, like,
Oh, that's
Jeez, we need to reword that.
It's a terrible definition. God.
It
Can I
is.
say-
Yeah. Oh, that also reminds me. What are we going to do for AOIs? Are we going to freeze them as well?
What the
Yeah.
fuck is AOIs?
No one writes those.
Can I
Why would we
speak?
need to?
Agencies of
No, I mean, like,
interest.
we have quite a couple
That's
that are in
literally.
progress.
I think when they say GOIs, they also mean AOIs.
Ah, okay.
Okay.
Just wondering.
It's sort
Oh,
of like
so
unconsciously put together.
it's
Yeah, they
literally.
got-
No,
Oh, so there's a loophole. I can't write a GOI, but I will write an AOI.
No, that's not. it. GOIs
Got
are
'em.
lumped in with AOIs in this conversation.
Oh well, damn.
Unfortunately.
So clarification. I know Bosun and Bath are working on an article involving the Smithsonian. The intention isn't to create a GOI, but under our definitions, it would be considered.
I mean, I guess.
So would they have to
But-
stop
but it-
writing that article?
It would only have
I don't
one
believe
article
so.
at that point, so
I-
it's not really.
Is BAF ever going to post an article?
Oh,
No,
Right,
it's
we're
not
working on
just
it right
it's not
now.
just the point of them, Bizlox. It's the point of
I'm
what
using
exactly
them as
would
an
be
I feel like-
considered a group of interest under these rules, and what are we going to end up deleting if
all right.
I
so-
feel
depending
like-
on what definition we
Can
use.
Paul speak?
Well. I just want to point out with that Bath article, I feel like that's just a one-off instance of a real-world organization entering into the anomalous world, and I feel like that should be, allowed under the
Using it
rules.
as an example.
If it's one-off and it's based on a real-life organization, I personally don't see the problem with it.
Personally, I see
think the problem. The problem is that it's about intention. I think is the issue. Because when Blaren thinks about putting in the GOI freeze, he has in his head these people whose intentions are to just spam shitty GOIs all over the site.
Like
And I
Logan?
understand why he doesn't want that. And I understand
What?
I understand why he doesn't want that.
Go
But
fuck
at the same
yourself.
time, you're gonna. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done
Here's a
Can we
controversial
focus,
idea.
please?
Why don't we just delete a bunch of GOI?
Hell yeah!
Yes.
All right.
Here's my
Alright, let's
personal
delete
take on
AAP.
this. If we're
Delete
preventing
here.
people from uploading articles, and if we're preventing people from writing about their ideas, what? Didn't we leave SCP because they're controlling the writers and
No,
and
we
muzzling
left
ideas?
the
I know,
SCP for
I
far
was just
different
joking.
reasons, buddy.
No,
people
we
will
left
tell that to the
SCP
people who
because
say
they
that.
weren't
People
controlling
left
writers enough.
SCP for a lot of different
A
reasons.
lot of reasons. But how does that look if people can point at us and say, "Look, you can't write about your idea"? Because why? Because they don't like that the GOI page is
Oh,
getting
alright,
longer.
hey.
Isn't that literally just
Sniper,
playing a
I
single
know you
cannon?
you like to really drive in the screwdriver whenever you get a point, but give me a sec. I have something I think everyone might enjoy, because everyone likes active GOIs, and no one likes shitty GOIs that sit on one article, one above fucking whatever the threshold are, to stay alive.
Can we just have
Can
GOIs that are not just
You
a
big
secret
bitch,
organization?
let me finish. We had an idea about 6 months ago to add like a timer to a GOI that if you didn't write an article about him, like if there wasn't an article once every 3 months, the GOI would get removed off the hub. But I have the same idea, except I would like to propose something different. Slightly different. Whenever a GOI gets doesn't get an article once every 3 months, it gets pushed into a page of the groups of interest where the lesser GOIs are. It would be in a different tab called inactive GOIs. Inactive GOIs would just be on that page with their logo grayed out, and above it will be an explanation. These GOIs have stopped operating for the moment and may be reactivated at any time.
That actually doesn't sound like a bad
Conceptually,
idea.
I'm fine with that.
I like that idea.
That's actually a really good idea, Blair.
Conceptually, that's not bad. Who's going to be
Actually,
maintaining it?
I've some
more
people are
teams
saying
something to
half
do.
of the GOIs would be inactive. I think
Epic.
literally only like maybe Academy of True Art is the only one eligible for this inactive role right now.
Wait.
I don't think it really solves anything, but I don't have any issues with it.
I'm fine with it. I think this is a better solution than will come up with otherwise.
It's a better solution than just deleting them.
Thanks. I drank some Coke Vanilla and I had that idea.
If it means we're not
Beautiful.
doing it GOI freeze, then I'm in favor of it.
I'm in fine with that as either a stopgap or a permanent.
It's 4 months is way too much. Somebody can just cruise on adding their GOI and add an article every 4 months. 2 months, which and I can allow it to be pushed up to 3 months. 2 months is good because at that rate, you have to have at least one other person be inspired by your GOI and is actively writing content for it. Because if you have to write an article every 2 months, it's going to be a chore, it's going to be a slog, you're not going to want to do it. That means only the truly good ideas continue.
I do think there should be like a goal of this quite high number of articles that if you reach that, it's more or less permanently on the.
I mean, yeah, hell yeah, Malthus Amazing Co. How
Like,
about we
make it
just have
15 or
it be
something
the
high.
top 3? If you're one of the GOIs with the 3 most articles, you stay on, despite the
Yeah.
yeah. Sure.
Just like conceptually,
Whatever.
I'd like there to be.
I
a
made it
goal
up
to
5
reach.
minutes ago, so I'll keep making it up as I go. Whatever, sure. Yeah.
I think it
So
should be
that
more
would be
concrete than that.
Children of Malthus, Amazing Co, and Children of Nihil. Wait, is that Children? No, it's Church of Malthus, right?
I prefer if we did something more concrete, like if your GOI meets double the GOI requirements, or maybe even triple.
That was the original suggestion, but that means Gear would be making the cut, and I hate you, Vizlox. So
Is Gear eligible for double?
yeah, Gear has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
It
6,
is?
7, 8, 11 articles.
I think some of them are just references.
Yeah, this would have to be like we'll have to. Lore team should probably do a full like audit of the GOI page to make sure it's
we
not
do
just
every
like,
now and then. It's pretty good right now. It's pretty good.
Yeah,
Every time a new GOI gets added, we look through it all to see if there's a bunch of shitty references to it. I don't know if we've done that for New Corp yet, but if we've done that for New Corp,
We did it for New Corp.
okay. So this is holy shit!
I-
I haven't had caffeine in a long time.
I'd like to
I've had in
mention
years.
that Gear on the lore server hasn't been updated for let me check real quick. Hasn't been updated since August 9th, and before that it was only updated in March. So
also like to say that lore server doesn't get used by a lot of people because it's such a labyrinth.
yeah, fair
I miss
enough.
Liber.
Yeah. Do you guys, Biggest, what do you think about possibly changing that?
Change what?
Changing what exactly?
Lore server.
No,
The-
that's up to Liber. Please, let's not talk.
No.
Yeah, we
No, I
need
mean,
to
like,
talk to Liber.
If you could
propose it
talk
him
to
when he comes
Liber
back.
about possibly seeing if you could use your best judgment to. He can. I have Liber's email if we need to
And even
contact.
if it's not worth talking about Coupon. This isn't a
Okay.
staff meeting.
Just I think eventually it could be helpful if. You
Yeah,
know,
lore server either needs like an evil clone to be made and to be made reasonably, and not just be like subsumed into a separate channel on the main Discord, a second one, or it needs to be just the greatest channel purge in RPC history. Needs to be enacted.
It's not our
Lore discussion
Dude,
is
you
open
have
right over
no
there.
idea what the archive channel looks like in the lore server.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah,
I
pretty
do,
much all
man.
the
Oh,
lore
shit.
team.
No, I'm
Stop
not.
that.
I'm not trying to like push for any of this to be
I
done, but asking Liber about it.
yeah, I told you that we should.
All right,
This 'cause
I think it's time to move on to a different topic.
yeah,
What other
okay,
topic do
I
you have?
have a thing. I need.
Against all odds, we came
needed,
to a consensus.
I still needed to finish the community suggestion.
Okay, idiot. Mine first. Okay. Agent Star has suggested changing POIs to no article requirements similar to LAIs to boost characters that exist for... I'm pretty sure we already covered this, actually.
Yeah, we did cover POIs. We more or less said we're going to keep talking about
whatever.
it.
This is worthless. Agent Star, why'd you waste my time with this? Why'd you send me this? Go fuck yourself.
What are you doing, Star?
Are we about done with the meeting? Because I have to head off pretty soon. This phone's bloody
Lupin,
died.
finish up your garbage.
This applies to you as well, Biggest. A lot of the community members are upset and think that the staff is witch hunting a bit too much on the Discord when it comes to Phantom or SCP Spy.
Well, it's not just staff. It's
No, that wasn't about the
community.
staff.
Yeah, well, it wasn't just
literally-
staff either. Thank you.
No,
That's
that
a good
wasn't
point.
bloody staff.
That's community as well.
Staff witch hunt against Phantom.
If we're gonna call staff out on this, well, it's everyone. Everyone's suffering phantom paranoia because every time we get a new user who acts just a little bit strange, who happens to have a new account, everyone panics.
The reason I submitted this one was because I got a user who messaged me asking, why am I being called a spy? What am I doing wrong?
Hey, guess what, guys? We're growing, and we're growing pretty fast. We're going to get to a point where we're going to have new users who have just joined Discord just for us. And they're probably going to be like middle schoolers or high schoolers.
Yeah,
You know how bad it would be if we just repeatedly shit onto some poor kid who just want to check out our PC and we call him a Phantom All.
God save us
We're
all
giving
when
him what he
RPC
wants.
containment breach gets made.
Exactly.
That would be legend.
We're giving him
I don't
exactly
think a
what he
containment
wants.
breach would do anything for us.
Well, we got Loboa Seca, I think it's called, like that RPC 00055 game.
Okay, so in general, what's the point here? That staff should be less paranoid about Phantom. And
No,
that the whole community
everyone.
should and let me talk. The whole community should be less retarded with new users because we are.
Yes.
And also, please, from the bottom of my heart, please, as we grow bigger, we need to keep an eye on our personal autism. Because it's going to get to a point where one wrong word to the wrong user who happens to join a Discord and it'll just be tits up for us. We're getting to that point.
Yes. So if you, in a general message, if you see people being retarded and you don't like how they're presenting us to the, remember they represent you to a new user, just shout them down. We shout people down all the time here. Call them out. Make this the community you want it to be. Don't be afraid of their opinion. Whatever. I don't know. Stir the fires.
Just tell them to stop being retarded. It's very simple.
Yes, it can be like a community can have its bad spots, but as long as you see someone calling them out and it's not just this monoculture of 4chan light, then you might have a glimmer of hope.
Exactly. Yeah.
Moving on. The final two, the last one, second to last one is Blairin. Lots of community members are asking for a grug/ship.
I'm sorry, what?
I don't think that's possible unless I have 2 starboards, which we already lost one.
Grug board is what he's talking
We've
about.
had this discussion before. A lot of staff are against having a shitboard for a variety of reasons.
Fuck that.
Well, that was the downvote board, not the grug board.
Oh, grug board? Oh.
Yeah, the grug board. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it would entail exactly.
It's
the
same
vote
thing.
light.
Yeah, it sounds like it'd be the same thing.
It
the same
seems
thing,
to
it's
be
just-
entirely pointless.
It is the waste of a channel. We have actually been pretty disciplined here with channels. I don't want to see that
This is the
spiral out of
official
control.
channel. If you want some shit boards, you go to the Shitty Writer Club.
And the last suggestion, with a surprising 21 votes yes and 0 votes no, can we unban Bodhi? Only Sinaticus was really against him.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's
I
support
As long as he keeps
no.
his bloody political shit to the political channel, I'd be
Yeah.
fine with that. In fact, can we just make a role where he's just in the political channel and the off topic?
give him-
I'd be
no,
perfectly
give him
fine
a
if he
role.
sticks
I
to it.
believe I made a rule like that.
We already
check
have
out
a role like that. It's called
check out
Prologue.
Staff Voice. Vizlox made this for linking videos. I'm gonna show this to Vaughn
Change
as
the
well because
binding.
he was just see what he thinks of it as well.
Also, a
Petition
little
to
side
have
note,
said,
we've got all these we've got all these random roles that are in that are just in this server. Any chance we could just go through them and just delete a couple?
What?
Which ones?
Stalking stuff like the Nadeko mute or something like that, and it's like another one
That's
that's just called
important.
new. Another one's called test roll. Just shit like that. Just like random roles that I've never seen really applied to anybody. Oh, Ingrid's here.
Discord matter. Also, for the listeners of this recording, who listens to an RPC staff meeting on YouTube? Masochist
I do.
listeners.
A lot
Anyways,
of people do.
Vizlock
I have
posted.
54 subscribers, you pathetic whelp.
Listen
I'll
here.
probably look on it to hear how my voice quality is like this. Because if we have another
Anyways,
one on Monday, I might do this again.
For the people listening, Vizlock's made a proposal, and Coupon has posted a link to it, where kind of like the translated little blurbs next to the rating bar on articles. So like a little flag that's Chinese or Korean, and you click on it, and it brings you to the translation page. It's that, but it has a generic audio symbol, and it brings you to a reading of that RPC. I think it's a great idea.
I can't take credit for it. It was Qual's idea, pretty much.
Yes.
Well, great implementation and a great idea. So,
Yes.
So thank you, Qual and
Agreed on both
Fizzlocks.
accounts. Very based.
Another symbol.
Can I put it in now?
Vizlox, you are one step closer to being forgiven for Dark Theme, but you're not there.
And Qual's one step closer to becoming, I don't know,
An actual mod.
Shit, I was gonna say moderator, but I'm not sure if we're ready for that.
He's almost.
Why did you I'm trying to ask you a
I
question.
can't-
Hell heaven.
I can't
make
make just
a
fall
single-
over. I just heard him shout.
Fell down the stairs?
Focus.
I can't make a
Up,
single
the
one.
chair broke from under him.
Is there any other community stuff that we've
No,
missed?
that's
It
pretty
is-
much
Yeah,
it is
I
been
have
an hour
I
and a
have
half.
a
I
community.
mean,
I have something.
Listen, hey, I have a community. Laren, why did you repost my goodbye video and
Is
Well,
someone
I have
talking?
some-
I can only hear whispering.
Blair, and why did you repost my one more final?
Okay, I think we're done
Thursday?
unless anyone else has anything else that they're
Yeah,
gonna
I
bring
Wait,
up.
people have a lot of
Yes,
things to
yes.
discuss.
I have something to
All
say.
right, I've got a lot of law shit to get done. I'll probably try
Oh,
and get
God.
it done. Speaking of, Scriber, we gotta have a look at the object class shit while we can.
Okay.
Can we
Alright.
schedule a lore team meeting?
Yes. Can this stuff be done at a lore team? Because if you're talking to me, you're holding about 20 people hostage.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
I believe.
Wow.
I believe we are done.
Yeah.
Yes, can I talk to you
Including
privately?
lore. Is there any other topics that need to be talked about?
Oh, hey, Saito 2 actually, I think is something we should have a discussion.
Okay,
What, right
anything in
now?
the staff meeting? Any
That-
last
Oh yeah,
takers?
yeah.
We've
That was
mostly
also-
decided to shuffle stuff off to
Um,
more conversations, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah. Free TK, free Santano, free Pimpy Z.
So nothing. Got it.
All right,
Wait.
Kurska signed off.
Okay.
Wait, I
Who? What?
Read Viderix.
Stop shilling in here.
Nope.
Oh,
My
Well,
first
I
time.
guess we're done.
Read RPC 313, guys.
Read
actually, yeah.
no. Can the lore team
Makes sense.
members stick around for?
Yeah, I can.
Yes.
RPC 503.
I figure why don't we just figure out a good day to schedule the lore team meeting?
All right.
Okay.
How does next week,
Pick it up.
Saturday, 7 p.m. sound?
I mean,
Sounds
yeah,
good.
a long time from now.
If something comes up, I'll let people know.
I should be able to
That's
make
fine
it.
for now.
All right, I'll send the message in.
1 second, Qual.
Wow.
I need to do this.
I have something to say actually before we end the record.
We have, but go on.
All right, I'm gonna.